So this video is going to be about combo window switches and window switches in general in older Hondas. So this one's out of a 94 to 97 Honda Accord. They come in slightly different configurations, but the logic's still the same. So if yours looks slightly different than this, the process is the same. So we're going to take this apart. I'm going to show you how to take it apart, how it's put together, and what goes wrong that makes these not work. So most common thing that I've found has been that the driver's side window switch doesn't work, or like a window will roll down but not roll back up. Like it'll just roll all the way down and then you can't get it up no matter what you do. So I'm going to take this apart and show you where the failure points are. So the first thing you want to do to disassemble these is you want to get these nubs off the switches themselves. So this can be done with a flathead. So you start by going to the side, and underneath here you'll put the flathead and pry up. So you'll pry up. So that's the passenger side one up on this side. You'll have to get to the other side. We'll have to start on the driver's side. Pry up, pops up. You'll have to come on the other side of it and hook this side and pry up, and it'll pop off. And here's what that looks like. And here's what this looks like. And if you notice, this switch is keyed right here to fit inside of the switch. And if you look inside of the switch, you can see that there's a little key right there that fits into that slot. So we're going to continue. So there's our next one. There's that one. Alright. So now we have those off. So now we got to get the rubber off. The rubber just pulls straight up. May be a bit harder if it's a bit older and not as pliable as this. So here's the inside of the switch. Inside of this you have different contacts that initiate contact with one side of the switch if it goes up, other side if it goes down. And you can see it up in here and down in here. Now to remove these so you can get down in there, because what happens is those contacts get smudged up, or those at the actual contacting points will actually degrade. So to get in these, basically the switches themselves are in this housing on two sides. The driver's side front switch is easy. You take your flathead, put it behind this head of this pin. Just kind of pull it back enough, and then you can get a hold of it with your hand and pull it straight out. So there's that. Then when you pull it straight out, it's, oh no, it'll explode. Well, you have a couple different pieces. You've got this main piece that's the switch with a spring on the end. Then you've got this piece for the left side, and this piece which works for the right side. Now inside of here, you have your contacts here and here. These are what do the heavy lifting for you. As the switch turns, these contact these points. So we're going to get these out. Okay, with those out of the way, you can see these contact points. So these contact points are here, 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 and here. I've already been through here and cleaned these, but if you get in here, these are going to be black. If there's a thing that's not working, if one of the functions of the switch isn't working, something in here is going to be black as tar. And you're going to have to go through with some sandpaper or like a flathead screwdriver and some alcohol and a Q-tip, and you're going to have to scrape this and clean it. So in here you have these little cradles here and here, which correspond with these contacts. Now on the contacts that were in there, which look like this, you've got these little ears here, which is what actually goes into those cradles. So the side that's closest to a contact point where the cradle is, that's where this side goes. But basically these little nibs on the back here, these little nipples, this is what makes contact with the contact point of the switch. So when you pull this out, you're going to want to clean this really good. Get it as clean as you can before you put it back in. So moving on to taking apart the other switches is a little bit different because these are all in plastic, so you got to be more careful. So basically this one's joined on this side and this side. It clicks into this with a taper. Okay, so we're going to pop this side up first. If it gives you a fit like that, you can twist it and it will pop the other side out. But see, they've got tapered pins on both sides. And this works the same way as the other side does. Just a couple contacts that pivot with the springs on those switches. Let me try to get this one in shot and see if we can remove this one easier than we did that one. Yeah. So just popped this side and then twisted it and it slipped the other side out to where we could get to it. This particular switch had a problem with the passenger side front not able to roll up and the passenger side rear not able to roll up. And that was due to the actual pads being very, very corroded. And a couple of the contacts were actually bad. I had to actually use parts from another switch to make those good again. This piece is interesting. So this is going to be the same as these. But this piece is interesting. So this is a little coil that activates. You've got a little arm down inside here. There's a black rod here. Whenever you push the switch down, it pushes this, which pushes a little tab. See if I can get this on camera. There's a little tab down in here that if it depresses, it will do the auto roll down. That's your auto roll down function. So that's when you hit the down button all the way down, the window automatically goes down and then clicks off once it goes all the way down, instead of having to hold the switch down for it to go down. That's what that function is. So if your function of that is busted, it could be that arm could be shattered, or it could be another thing, which I'll show you in just a second. To put these back together, you take your contacts and put them back in the way they came out. And you take your little switches and line them up and just pop them back into place. Just like that. Let me show you putting the contacts in so that you know how to do this. Where these cradles are, you've got a cradle here and you've got a cradle here. That's where the ears on those contacts are going to go. So you're going to take your contact with those little ears and you're going to face it towards the cradle when you drop it in. If you get it perfect on the first shot, great, good job. If you don't, you can fish it in there with a flathead or a pick. They can be quite difficult. So like this one, gonna fish it right in there. So now it's in those cradles. So when you go to put these back together, you take a little bit of dielectric grease, which unfortunately I don't know where my tube is right now. I gotta find it. But you take a dab of dielectric grease or electrical grease and you put it in these contacts so that the springs that have little plastic bits on them can go back and forth and slide easily, but also to reduce wear on those contacts. So to put the big driver's side one back together, you take this piece, which is symmetrical, either way works when you put it in. You take this and you take your little feet and you'll just put them back into it. Now if you notice, these little nubs are offset. I believe you're going to want to have one of them facing forward to actuate that auto roll down. So when you go to put it back in, you need to have one of those facing forward. So like with this one, it'll be like that. So we got this together, got the assembly, got that little tab facing forward, and we're going to put it into the switch. May take a couple tries. If you've got grease, this is going to be easier because it kind of sticks the contacts where they need to be. So we're taking this, we're going to try and fit it back in here again. And when you get it in here, it's going to be spring loaded, and you're going to have to push down on it and hold it. You're going to want that shit. And this can happen where that little arm that actuates the auto roll down can fall out and you have to start over again. So when you put that in, you have to put it in with the notch facing down towards that way, towards the switch. So this is kind of hard to do on camera, but basically you line up your holes while pushing down on the springs and get that post back in there. Unlike me right now, you'll have dielectric grease in here, so this will be probably a little bit quieter and easier to operate, but this is for intensive teaching. You'll put your rubber back over, and then you can pop your handles back on. So again, just look for the little notches in here and line them up with the notch on this one. And then these other ones are the same as each other, so you'll just pop those on. Like so. And now we have our switch put back together. Now there is another part of this, there's an electrical part. So that was just like contact points. So that's a basic like maintenance item. There's also an electrical repair that you can do in these, which I did notice does make a huge difference. So if you take yourself a flathead screwdriver and go around the outside back of these, they may be different shapes. There are different shapes of these, but there's these little tabs you can go around. And if you pop all these tabs up on the sides, then this panel will come off. When the panel comes off, you're presented with a board back here that's screwed on, and it's got solder points. If you unscrew this, it's not going to go anywhere because it's soldered directly to these contact points. Now this contact point and this contact point go to the coil that does the auto roll down for the driver's side. These other contact points go to other places. This likes to flex, and these joints can crack, or in my case they got extremely corroded. So what I did is I went and I cleaned them up with alcohol and a Q-tip, and then I came over and I put flux over them, and then melted them back into themselves, and then I took some new solder and melted it into each joint. And that's how you repair this side. So this is the thing to try first if you have a soldering iron. This is what to try second, but this is generally what's going to be wrong, but I've also seen multiple times just on 2 switches today, this one and another one I had put up, where these contact points were giving out. But after I did this, I put this whole switch in the car and every single bit of it worked, even without the grease in it. So if that's what you need to do to get by, that's what you can do. That'll fix a lot of problems with these combo switches, and they are not cheap. And if you get them in the junkyard, they've got the same issues. But if you've got one from a junkyard and it doesn't work, this video will help you fix that. So this was a combination window switch from a 94 to 97 Honda Accord. I think this was specifically out of a 94, but they're all pretty much the same. I'm sure the same logic applies to any other Honda, 90s Honda window switch systems.